Best on Tour this week is presented by Best on Tour. Sign up for free at bestontour.net. Welcome to another episode of Best on Tour this week, presented by Best on Tour. I'm your host, Matt Pangrac, along with my co-host, Dave Rush from bestontour.net. And Dave, it was Bassmaster Classic week this past week in Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah, we are hot off a busy week in Fort Worth, Matt. Got home last night, and we got a lot to talk about.
We do. Easton Fothergill wins the 2025 Bassmaster Classic, a total weight of 76 pounds, 15 ounces. The heaviest winning weight in Bassmaster Classic history, averaging just over 5 pounds per bass to win $300,000 cash.
Yeah, unseating Kevin Van Dam in the process for the heaviest classic winning weight. Easton takes that title, but does not unseat KVD for the lowest classic winning weight, which was 12.15 at the 2005 Classic in Pittsburgh. Not taking that one down at Ray Roberts.
Trey McKinney finishes in second just after his 20th birthday. Easton Fothergill, 22 years old. Combined, they have been on this planet, Dave, for 42 years. Interestingly, less than a year ago, Rick Clunn retired after 50 years fishing professionally. So definitely a youth movement at the top of the Bassmaster Classic leaderboard.
Absolutely, Matt. Young in years, but definitely not young in time on the water.
Interesting myriad of baits that got the job done. Easton said he caught 80% of his fish on a nail-weighted Nico rig, while the other 20% came on an unnamed jerk bait. Trey McKinney predominantly caught a lot of his fish on jerk bait, both of those anglers utilizing forward-facing sonar. Lee Livesey finishes in third with 66-10, a trio of Texas anglers with Ben Milliken and Chris Saldane making up the other 2/3. Livesey finishes in third on a vibrating jig and a number of other options. And then Hunter Shryock and Corey Johnson each turning in their best classic performance this week.
Yeah, great classic week overall for sure.
One of the major storylines that we covered last week in the Best on Tour this week episode was the wind and the weather. Media day, Bass said they had some contingency plans for the weather. The kayak series, which was supposed to take place over 2 days on Lake Fork, was actually cut to one due to the weather. But when it was all said and done, all 3 days of competition were able to take place in the Bassmaster Classic, meaning that there was no truncated Bassmaster Classic as we thought could have been an option heading into the week.
Yeah, some adjustments were made by the tournament staff. All 3 days of competition were able to happen, so that was a great thing in Texas.
All right, off the water, one of the busiest weeks of the year outside of ICAST takes place at the Bassmaster Classic Expo. Dave, you were there all 3 days, as was I. What went down at the Bassmaster Classic Expo?
Man, Expo was busy per usual. One of the things I try to do at every Classic Expo is seek out the longest line that has nothing to do with getting an autograph from a professional angler. No surprise, last few years, it has been for a glide bait or swim bait drop. Same thing in Fort Worth. This year, it was the Piz swim baits booth. People were camped out outside for hours, lines wrapping around the expo. Got a chance to chat with those guys a little bit. Two that stuck out to me were the Drift Glide and the Shad Little from Piz Swim Baits. And just a little research during the show, hour or two after the drop, they were already on eBay going for quite the markup.
Before the Classic started, the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame held its Classic Mixer. They'll do one at Red Crest on Gunnersville as well. Of note, the limited edition Legends lures were dropped that were painted by legendary bait painter Frank Scalish that will be available in limited edition numbers. Any information on that?
Yeah, so very cool project from the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame in conjunction with Pradco and Frank Scalish. Rick Clunn, Bill Dance, Roland Martin, Bobby Murray, and Larry Nixon, all of whom are in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, will have signature series, limited edition, 300 of each lures, available September 1st. All proceeds will go to help the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. Certainly a collector's item you would like to get your hands on for sure.
Of note, technology continues to advance in the fishing industry. Power Pole dropped a new product at the Bassmaster Classic.
Yeah, kind of one of the big buzz items around the Classic was the Power Pole Vision. If you've paid much attention to how pro anglers have been setting up their boats, a lot of them will utilize an iPad. Power Pole Vision is, for lack of a better description, an iPad on steroids in a typical graph mounted type unit. Is able to interact with CMAP technology, Navionics, Lake Master. You can have a deep dive app on there. Really any app that's in the App Store, entertainment or otherwise. So a lot of pros around the Power Pole booth figuring out how they are going to be able to utilize that in their setups moving forward. So something to definitely keep an eye out for.
One of the few weeks where the attention of the industry is both on and off the water. Celebrity sightings, not only at the Celebrity Pro-Am, but also in the Bassmaster Classic coverage of it. Deion Sanders, head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes and known avid bass angler, made an appearance in the Bass Cat booth with Matt Looney of Bass Cat, gifting or giving Deion Sanders a buffalo colored bass boat. Last year, Deion was on the stage with Tommy Sanders and Mark Zona breaking down the action during the 9:00 hour, along with a lot of the celebrities, the 20 plus celebrities that took place in the Celebrity Pro-Am to kick off the week.
Yeah, I thought something really cool. Dion and his entourage were in the expo before the doors open, and he was literally going to all the hot tackle booths, spending his own money, getting the latest and greatest, and getting some tips from any pro angler or somebody who had some knowledge of the new baits that he could get, and saw him walk out of there with a sack full of merchandise and supporting the Bassmaster Classic Expo there in Fort Worth.
Become a better angler. Go behind the scenes in the top fishing tours. Learn the business side of the fishing industry and how to get sponsorships. The Best on Tour newsletter brings you all of those once a week, and it's completely free. Where can they sign up, Dave?
bestontour.net.
We will see you next week.
See you guys next week.